You're listening to Embrace Your Snake, the number one podcast for creatives and entrepreneurs that have big ideas and just need a little bit of help to get them out into the world. I'm your host, Michael Jackson, and today we're talking about cheers and jeers when a project is finished. I'm a big fan of movies, and I love superhero movies, and I love sci-fi and adventures. That's my genre. There may be other people that love other genres, drama, comedy, romantic comedies, those sorts of things, but I'm into sci-fi and sword and sorcery and superheroes. So recently, there have been some big movies and series that have finished. For example, Game of Thrones ended, and uh, tonight I just saw the final Star Wars episode, The Rise of Skywalker. And there's also been the Avengers series that Marvel put out, finished recently. And one thing that I noticed about those movies is the epicness of the finales. Now, the numbers aren't in for cheers and jeers for Star Wars yet because it just came out. And as a matter of fact, I think today is Saturday, and I saw it. This is the third day. This came out Thursday, Friday, and today is Saturday. So there's no super reviews of that. I have an opinion about it, and I'll talk about it without spoilers in just a minute. The other two biggies that I've been watching were Game of Thrones and the Avengers movies. Now, I would say that both of those movies, they took forever to put together. The series took, years to put together. And then when they finished up, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because we're not going to spend a lot of time on this today. I just want to put the thought out there. The thing that ended up is I think fans were disappointed in the ending, especially with Game of Thrones. There was a major backlash from the fans about the ending of Game of Thrones. They hated that certain things happened. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to throw in any spoilers. But it didn't end the way that the fans wanted it to end. And then with Avengers, I feel like from the reviews that I read and people I've talked to, that didn't end the way that it should have, according to the fans. It didn't tie up some loose ends. It didn't do what it should have done, in air quotes. My whole problem with this ending the way that the fans think that it should end is that it's for the fans and it's for the creators also. If you've been working on a project for, a decade, and in the case of, let's say, Star Wars, multiple decades, there is a brilliance in being able to follow a project that long and finish it so that you now have a canon, a body of work that you can pass on and say, I did this. To me, if it's my project, yes, I want to end it on maybe something that the fans love, but the completion of that project, the tears and the sighs and the laughter and the camaraderie of that whole familiar thing coming together is an amazing accomplishment in itself. And I have to give props to the people that put those movies together because there is an amazing effort that has to go into making that happen. Yes, we all want to see the ending that just ties it all together and you can see, everyone's got halos. It doesn't always happen, but I still think that the producers, the creators, the actors, the film crews, I think they deserve credit for pulling the whole thing together. I'm not sure that Academy Award is what everyone is looking for at the end. I think they're looking to finish the dream that they started in the best way they can with the talent that they've developed and the budgets that they had and all the pressure that they had on them over those years. That's not to say that they don't all want the biggest finale that they could ever have, but I really do believe that we as creators can look at that and say, man, that was really good, and we can applaud for them just for having completed something so masterful. I would love to one day create something as epic as a Game of Thrones and ended after however many seasons that was. I think it was 7 or 8 seasons. And the body of work is pretty fantastic. I also agree that the ending of Game of Thrones was not really what I would have liked to have seen, but I didn't create it. I didn't go and find the money for it, the budget for it, everything, pull it together, write the stories, and make it work. And there's so many people that sit back and armchair quarterback and say, yeah, well, they should have done this and they should have done that. You think the creators don't know these things? They did the best they could. Um, Same with Endgame. There are so many ways that could have happened, but all of us sitting out here didn't have the forethought to actually go and create an end game. We didn't figure out how to go get the money. We didn't figure out how to do the series. We didn't figure out who to bring in as actors. We didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And for us to sit back and say, yeah, it kind of sucked at the end, I it's not a fair criticism. I don't believe. It is fair to say it's not as good as the others, but I just can't pan the whole series because of how the final episode ended. And I hear arguments on both sides. I've had this discussion with a friend of mine, and he brings up multiple awesome points about how the thing should have ended and why it just wasn't a very good um, series. And I don't disagree with those things. My point is, I can't take away the brilliance of the creation because of the not so good ending. So, anyway, that's what I have to say about this subject. I'm going to keep thinking about it over the years because I'm sure as I do projects, I'm going to have this same drama at the end of some of my bigger projects. And I'll probably face some of the same criticism, and you guys will probably face some of that same criticism also. Is it valid? Yeah, probably. Probably not. But the thing is, it's your baby. You created it. You need to live with it. And the people who are what's the word? Armchair quarterbacking, um, they don't necessarily um, get your, they get the vote. They buy the tickets. They watch the movies. But it's your baby and you need to be proud of it. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, is you're proud of your own work. Love it. Do as well as you can with it, bring it to fruition, and when it's done, and it's like hold your head up because you did something that most of the people in this world are not ever going to be able to accomplish. Pulling something together like a Game of Thrones, like an Endgame, like 4 decades of Star Wars is an incredible feat, and I have mad props for the people that just get that far, even if the last episode isn't the stellar thing that we would all like to see. There's so much I could say about this subject, but I guess I could sum it up like this. For us creatives, ugly babies need love too. For everybody who's not raising the ugly baby and didn't raise it, thanks for watching, and I hope you still support me in the future. Me being the creatives and you being the creatives. That's it. I'm Michael Jackson. Peace.